This is going to be a reading of the House Inhabit Substack post, The Depp versus Heard, Part 3. Outside of drunken violent tendencies, the sex parties were the first revelations to come at me repeatedly once I started to dig into Amber Heard's past. Information gleaned from varying sources who either knew Heard during this period or attended the parties themselves. Details lined up regarding costumes, satanic themes, and lesbian orgies performed on stages constructed at residences in and around LA and the Bay Area, the same faces in regular rotation. Tech gods, capitalists, founders, top executives, and up-and-coming entrepreneurs gathering roughly once a month for wild evenings fueled by alcohol, sex, and copious amounts of MDMA. Picture every man's basic fantasy, a celebrity told me over a phone call, recounting what they had seen in a series of photos taken at one of these events. A bunch of hot young girls rubbing all over each other in satanic-styled leather outfits on stage. Amber on a throne-like chair at the center, legs spread with, perfect porn star on display, performing sex acts for a room full of men watching below. Everyone knew the girls were there for hire, to entertain socially inept billionaires. Heard's connection to Musk, she said, stemmed as far back as 2011 when he and his wife were hosting parties at their residence in Beverly Hills. Amber became a quick favorite among the circle because she had a knack for reeling in other young, usually gay, struggling actresses to work as escorts and make appearances or perform at these events for Musk and his tech cronies. Tassia Van Ree was allegedly one of the early participants wrangled by Heard. In the evenings, the two were moonlighting as high-end escorts to wealthy men and by day enjoying the perks of being two of the most desired lesbians in their LA hipster queer community. An acquaintance of Van Ree's ex recalled the shock her friend felt upon discovering her girlfriend was involved in this secret sex society, a fact uncovered after kink-themed outfits were found stashed in Van Ree's trunk. The revelation, she said, ultimately ended their relationship. Another friend who witnessed the breakup said Amber held a weird spell over Tassia, even after Tassia had moved on and was dating someone new. For whatever reason, she remained desperate to keep Amber happy, despite being treated by Heard in return. The notion of loyalty proved a common theme threaded into conversations with ex-friends. A few confessed to being so enthralled with Amber that they were willing to overlook toxic traits, drastic mood swings, and maniacal meltdowns to remain in her good graces. Some claimed she possessed a unique magnetism that allowed her to manipulate people to the extent she did. But much of her allure seemed centered on the plain fact of her beguiling beauty, a flawless face, model-thin body, and gorgeous hair complemented by a southern charm she could turn on whenever it suited her. One friend compared Amber's skin under the harsh glare of fluorescent lighting to that of a baby's bottom. Lineless, porcelain perfection. She was so stunning in person it was hard to concentrate the first time I met her. The sex party subplot, tawdry and salacious as it was more than a juicy footnote. It was central to understanding Elon's stake in the Depp Heard trial. We knew Musk was footing Amber's legal bills in her defamation case against Johnny, and we knew that Musk was paying off Heard's donations debt. But what were his motives? While blackmail theories gained credibility, the media continued to tiptoe around them. Musk was framed as a quirky footnote in trial recaps, despite evidence of a legal battle between him and Amber over the frozen embryos. Soon, rumors that Musk was the father of Heard's baby continued to gain traction online, later confirmed here by multiple sources. The rumor has always been that she has some dirt on him, and that's why he's indebted to her. A regular at these parties would tell me on the phone, it's not surprising to anyone who knows her. Amber was always filming him. She had a method, she had it down. She would get Elon really up so an incriminating event could transpire and then film it all. Another source romantically linked to the well-known rock star said she had seen videos with what appeared to be minors invited by Amber in compromising situations, but explained it was complicated because a few people in these videos were also some of the same people involved in the trial, with no specific names or circumstances divulged. Others hinted that rough and drugging were also happening at these gatherings, where desires went unchecked and blurred boundaries unjudged. When I tried to find evidence of these parties and the accusations attached, I could only track down a handful of random headlines about Musk and his wife being denied entrance to a kink party in Berlin. A rumor Musk later confronted in a tweet, claiming he did go to the club, but only because he was unaware that it was a fetish scene and left early because he was bored. Elon Musk has been on a tour of Berlin's clubs, but Twitter's largest shareholder may wish he had an edit button for a recent night out. Musk tweeted that he refused to enter the highly exclusive, permissive techno nightclub Berghain, but according to reports in Vice, The Sun, and users on Reddit, he may have actually been denied entry. Musk was in Germany to open the new Gigafactory, Europe's first Tesla manufacturing facility. On Friday, he hit up the fetish club Kit Kat, which mottos, "Do what you want, but stay in communication," and boasts a strict dress code that calls for either leather, latex, lingerie, fancy dress, swimming gear, superhero outfits, or nudity. It's unclear which of those Musk chose. Thankfully, pictures aren't allowed. He followed that on Saturday with a step at the warehouse club Sisyphos, where he was spotted in a Zorro mask and afterward headed for Berghain. Berghain is perhaps the world's most well-known techno club, described by Rolling Stone as infamous for its parties and boasting a couple of dark rooms, several closable cubbies, and bathroom stalls big enough to host a party of 6, which are cleaned with industrial strength products not used outside of the meat packing industry. For weeks, tales of these dominated my DMs. If people weren't writing about Heard's love of wine and ecstasy, they were filling my inbox with lewd examples of other reckless habits, seducing married directors, ruining friendships due to unhinged jealousy, isolating Johnny from old friends, and berating friends and family whenever she was mad and intoxicated and needed somebody to take it out on. Shortly after the end of the trial, a source referred to here as Gia reached out, offering valuable insight into this bizarre scenario, in particular the intimate dynamics between Heard and Musk, and in the circle they ran with. She compared to a snake pit she was lucky enough to escape. Her description confirmed every rumor and suspicion I had collected throughout my coverage about dismal incentives, morale shed like old skin, and money funding the fantasies unveiled in these quiet villas on the hill. She said some of the things she had witnessed were too dark for words. The details of one secret party, not hosted by Musk, sounded straight out of a Kubrick production. Blindfolded participants met a designated spot and were shuttled to a remote location where cell phones were confiscated at the door and nude women dangled from treetops secured by harnesses with bags over their heads. She said once you arrived, it was clear you could not just leave if you wanted. You were expected to see it through its entirety. A performance consisting of 2 bagged women being by the devil horns and spraying on stage outdoors. Jesus. And themed rooms sectioned off during intermission with people everywhere inside. As the story goes, Gia was lured to Los Angeles from a small southern town in search of modeling jobs where she connected with famous faces almost immediately. Invitations to gala events and nightclub openings soon followed. So did exotic vacations to Saint-Tropez with A-list actors. Her first taste of LA offered a thrilling alternative to the straight-laced lifestyle she was accustomed to. As a young wife and mother tossed into a strict suburban surrender just out of high school, she had never partied. LA seemed like a carnival of new opportunities. She met Amber early on at the bar in the Chateau Marmont during a weekend visit. The two exchanged numbers, and Heard followed up with texts about horseback riding in Texas and other childhood nostalgia they shared because of similar upbringings in neighboring home states. Their second meeting was at the Abbey in West Hollywood, where Heard introduced her to her best friend Rocky and made the first move, kissing Gia and slipping a pill into her mouth. I remember her kissing me and nothing else, Gia told me on her first phone call. When she woke up, she found herself alone in Amber's Silver Lake loft, deemed the tree house, with a handwritten note on the bed beside her. She said she was confused but enamored because she had never been into women. The intensity of this new attraction caught her off guard. She credited Amber as being very seductive and smart. She figured out what you liked and told you things you wanted to hear. It was almost like being in a trance whenever I was around her. The connection prompted her to finally officially move to LA. Amber insinuated that they had a future together. The connection prompted her to finally officially move to LA. Amber insinuated that they had a future together, flooding her with adoring texts and promises of what was to come in their nearly formed relationship. But when she arrived, things changed quickly, drastically. Initially, she says it was an exciting change of scenery. Her LA chapter was punctuated by her induction into Amber's Inner Circle, a stylish collective of hipster Hollywood it girls and fame-hungry starlets mingling with young feminist artists and writers at the forefront of progressive queer culture, bonded by shared enthusiasm for heedless drug use and nonstop partying. The party circuit came next. At the time, Gia said she had no idea who Musk was, so she was thrown off by his social awkwardness. He seemed an odd fit for Amber, who was lively and flirtatious, the center of attention in every scenario. When she questioned his offbeat mannerisms and facial tics, Amber's response was less defensive than dismissive, something along the lines of, "I know, but he's really smart." Things transpired quickly when the trio turned after Amber invited Gia to join them as a third, a routine that consisted of Musk watching her and Amber together or her watching Amber and Elon have. The one rule, he was not allowed to touch the other woman, but could himself while he watched. Gia laughingly recalled one occasion where, after watching Amber perform a ridiculously overacted orgasm, she confronted her about it, asking, "What was that all about?" "He doesn't know the difference anyway," Amber quipped. I knew if I continued this way with her, I might not wake up. I don't know what she gave to me, but I knew my life was probably in danger when I was with her alone. A Gatsby-themed party in San Francisco was where it all came crashing to a head. Elon invited and encouraged Gia to come. She arrived in a beautiful beaded 1920s style gown with a handsome Hollywood date on her arm. She remembers the dress with loving detail, a pale pink low swooping back and hand-beaded bodice. Delicate but sexy, she was under the impression that Amber would not be at this event. She knew Elon and she had broken up, and things had gotten increasingly ugly after the Australian incident. So she was stunned too. She grabbed me by the neck and started slashing my dress with the wine opener, like a maniac, screaming that she was going to slit my neck for effing her boyfriend. It took a friend of Amber's to finally pull her off of Gia and away from the bar, but the shredded dress marked an indefinite end to whatever lingering infatuation still remained. She said Elon would pull her aside weeks later at another event, urging her to stay far away from Amber because he feared she might actually try to kill her. He seemed genuinely scared, she said. I think he knew she was crazy enough to do it, and she knew he would be the one to clean it up if she did. Yes, about control. Cut out maneuver, manipulate, create traps, and deceive. Just a giant game of skullduggery and lacks true logic and focus on what is relevant and true. Whatever she can do to get what she wants, appear to come out like an innocent, well-behaved, put-together woman who was so wronged by the world and everyone in it. She will hurt anyone in her path, wash her hands of blood with a smile on her face.